All right, everybody, welcome back to the #1 television program in the history of the entire universe. I am Brian Lee Durfee, author of The Forgetting Moon, The Blackest Heart, and The Lonesome Crown, all three books published by Simon & Schuster's Saga Press. Today I'm going to be reviewing Jack Carr, book number 7 in his James Reese thriller series, and this is called Red Sky Mourning. And man, this is just such a great book. Now let's talk about the cover first, because you know I love graphic design and cover illustration. This has got a pretty good cover, very bold, very brilliant, much like the very first book in the series, The Terminal List. If you're unfamiliar with Jack Carr, he wrote The Terminal List, which became a mini-series on one of those things like Netflix or Amazon or something, starring Chris Pratt. But anyway, this is book number 7. I consider Jack Carr one of the great new thriller writers, which is cool in the sense that in the afterword of this book and all of his books, Jack Carr gives credit to all of the thriller writers that he read when he was a kid, like Robert Ludlum and Ian Fleming, and even some of the more modern guys like Brad Thor, Daniel Silva, Wilbur Smith, John le Carré. He read thriller novels as a kid and joined the Navy SEALs. He was a Navy SEAL. In fact, I haven't done this before in a Jack Carr review. I've reviewed all his books. In fact, I've met Jack Carr multiple times, and he has autographed all of my books, as you can see here. Normally he does a book signing here in Utah, up in Park City, whenever a new book comes out. However, I didn't get to the book signing this time because I spent some time in the hospital when that happened, and I just missed it. But anyway, we'll get this one signed eventually. But I did want to do something that I've never done before in a Jack Carr review. And I wanted to read his bio, because this gives you an idea of how knowledgeable this guy is in the subject of spy thrillers and warfare. But Jack Carr is a former Navy SEAL who led special operations teams as a team leader, platoon commander, troop commander, and task unit commander. During his 20 years in Naval Special Warfare, he transitioned from an enlisted SEAL sniper to junior officer leading assault and sniper teams in Iraq and Afghanistan, to a platoon commander practicing counterinsurgency in the southern Philippines, to commanding a special operations task unit in the most Iranian influenced section of southern Iraq. Through the tumultuous drawdown of U.S. forces, Jack retired from active duty in 2016 and lives with his wife and 3 children in Park City, Utah. So you can see this guy's got a lot of experience doing a lot of things. This book, Red Sky Mourning, I think it might be my favorite in the series so far, and I've loved each book in the series. But this one is very dark. It's probably his most violent. It's his longest one, and I kind of think that Jack Carr is becoming the next Tom Clancy, in that he describes everything so detailed, like every weapon that is being used, every submarine that is floating through the ocean, every computer system that is being used to suss out spycraft and other things. Everything is just described in so much detail. I love that because I don't know much about those things. And it's good to learn. And I'm just assuming from his experience that he's giving us the straight. And even in the afterword, he tells us which things in his novel are based in reality and which things he sort of took a little bit of artistic license with. Now, one of the things that frightens me the most about this book and a couple of the books previous is he mentions a computer system named Alice, which is an AI thing, which is based out of Utah, in the Utah data center, which is near my house. which is one of the biggest targets militarily for any sort of attack on the US, which means if our enemies decide to take out that computer data system, which is the biggest in the world, my house will get blown up too. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. Now let's get into this book and the details of the plot and stuff without giving any spoilers. This is a convoluted plot. It's my favorite plot that he's come up with. But rather than me try to do an injustice by trying to recall it from memory, let me read the just the jacket copy, because that'll give us a really good idea of what's going on in this without being spoilery. So, you think you know James Reese? Think again. A storm is on the horizon. America's days are numbered. A Chinese submarine has gone rogue and is navigating toward the continental United States, putting its nuclear missiles within striking distance of the West Coast. A rising Silicon Valley tech mogul with unknown allegiances is at the forefront of a revolution in quantum computing and artificial intelligence. A politician controlled by a foreign power is a breath away from the presidency. Three seemingly unconnected events are on a collision course to ignite a power grab unlike anything the world has ever seen. The country's only hope is a quantum computer named Alice, that's in my backyard, that has gone dark, retreating to the deepest levels of the internet, learning at a rate inconceivable at her creation. But she has done more than learn. She has become a weapon. She is now either the country's greatest savior or its worst enemy. Known as Alice, her only connection to the outside world is to former Navy SEAL striper James Reese, who has left the violence of his past behind. Or has he? In fact, I think this book is the most violent James Reese has ever been. He exacts cold-hearted revenge on everybody in his path. And to the point where you're almost kind of cringing as you watch him do it. And it's dark, it's grim, it's gritty. It's got a lot of torture scenes, a lot of bullets to the head scenes. It's very, very, very well done in the action sequences. And in the technical parts where he's describing the computer mechanics and the things and the different political intrigues, he's very, very detailed in that regard. Just, this is maybe one of my favorite reads of the year, giving it a 10 out of 10. It's just an absolute thrill ride.